You're watching and listening to Conscious Evolution Media, shifting global consciousness at consciousevolutionmedia.com.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Kids Talk Foundation, a global nonprofit organization providing youth advocacy, television programming, and training services in the United States, along with comprehensive medical and educational services for the developing world. Most recently in Kenya, Africa, where Kids Talk Foundation provides a feeding program, medical care, and educational services to over 1,300 young people each day. Please help our youth and place your donation. Go to www.kidstalk.org.
Are you in the entertainment industry? If you answered yes and you want to promote yourself, your passion, and profession, check out Creative Independent Artist magazines at CIAartists.com. Endorsed by Kids Talk Foundation worldwide.
Hitting the high waves of entertainment, world affairs, and a touch of high society. We bring you the new internet TV show, The Darling Show, with Brian Darling and Ninon DeVerderosa. Brian and Ninon will feature hot topics with interesting guests from all walks of life. The anticipation of each show will keep you on the edge of life every week. Here are your hosts, Brian and Ninon.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Brian Darling.
And I am Ninon DeVerderosa.
And you are watching The Darling Show. Hi, Ninon. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm fabulous. It's raining in L.A.
Oh, my goodness. Well, it got a little chilly here. The sun's out. It's about 65. Quite pleasant.
Oh, awesome. Well, I want to give a shout out to our East Coast friends who are under like feet of snow right now. Come on out to L.A. It's great. We have a really good guest today. His name is Alexander Statinsky. He is the executive director at the Beverly Hills Chamber of Commerce. And I think we're having a little problem with his video right now, but we can hear him. Are you here, Alex?
Hi, Brian. I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
I'm really well. How are you doing?
Great. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hi, Alex. Hi. Just let me say hello to Alex. How are you doing, Alex?
I'm very well. Hi. How are you, Nina?
Oh, it's wonderful to meet you, and we're going to get to you in a couple of minutes, okay? We've got a little something we're going to talk about. Brian has something he wants to ask. What is it, Brian?
Well, what's going on in Vegas? You have a little news for us.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on, actually. I had a show earlier, and I had the consulate of Sweden on, Lena Waltham, and she was giving me some info on Vegas and what's going on. And we've got a lot of casinos being half built. And it's sort of, these eyesores going down Las Vegas Boulevard are really not that good. A deal was closed either yesterday or today, and a Chinese company have bought one of the hotels. So that is very good news because that's going to present about 1,000 jobs to the community. So I think everybody's sort of a little happy. So that's a little news from Vegas. So Vegas is doing well.
Oh, awesome. Well, we need another casino. And,
that's what we need.
1,000 more jobs. The jobs are great.
The jobs are really good. So what's going on in Beverly Hills?
Well, I want to tell you about an event that's coming up in Beverly Hills, actually on Monday, March 11th. It is an interactive experience at Bouchon Bistro, which is a very famous restaurant. There's, I guess, a lot of different locations. And we're going to be meeting Chef Thomas Keller. And we'll actually be going into the kitchen and cooking things and seeing what they do and how they take care of all their guests at Bouchon. So that's going to be really fun.
Yeah, but they're also expecting 200 to 300 people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever been to that restaurant?
Oh, I dine there all the time. My office is right across the street from there.
Awesome, because I've been there a couple of times for lunch. It's absolutely exquisite.
Oh, wonderful. And this particular event is in conjunction with the Beverly Hills Chamber. So, Alex, why don't you give us a little bit more detail about this event on Monday?
This is a first for the Chamber of Commerce. We wanted to create a dining experience that is unique. There's so many dinners going on in town. We wanted to create not yet another sit-down chicken dinner of some sort, but we wanted to create a very different, very unique experience So we got Chef Thomas Keller and his executive chefs from various restaurants, French Laundry, per se, into Bouchon, into his place in Beverly Hills. The tables are gone. This is all basically a big space where people walk around and engage in a progressive dinner. The kitchens are open to everyone. Thomas Keller and his team will make cooking presentations. They will explain to you how they prepare those delicious meals that they're doing every day, what makes them special. You will have a hands-on experience. You can make your own bread. You can make your own macaroons. There's all kinds of interactive activities going on.
Alex, why is this? Alex, why has this not happened before and it's just starting up? You said this is one of the first ones that they're doing because it's like
well,
Beverly Hills.
There's always a first time. There's always a first time for anything.
Were you instrumental in bringing?
We keep our wheels spinning and trying to find out. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you? Did you intervene this? Did you bring this to the forefront? I guess we're having problems with.
You are really choppy. I cannot really hear everything you're saying.
I think we're losing Alex.
Yeah, I think we were asking if you were instrumental in putting this all together and it being a first time of bringing something new to Beverly Hills.
Well, Nina, and I think I'll take a stab at that one. Alex has been the executive director at the Chamber for, I guess just over a year now, so there's a lot of changes. He previously did some work with the downtown LA, the Downtown Center Business Improvement District. So what he did down there was they have an art walk, and he's really bringing a lot of business and entertainment back to and revitalizing downtown LA, which is pretty exciting. And he's been a Beverly Hills resident for quite some time, so I think it's a great fit. I work with Alex at the Chamber, and he's really a driving force. There's a lot of really interesting changes going on. They have a new building, and there's actually a Beverly Hills Visitors Center in that building also. So if you're coming to Beverly Hills, the Chamber is, one of the places you want to call. They're a very good resource to tell you everything that's going on in town.
What brought you to Beverly Hills, to the Chamber of Commerce?
Oh my God, that's I don't know where to start. What brought me to Beverly Hills? First of all, I've been a resident in Beverly Hills for 17 years. I'm from Germany originally. I was born in Geneva in Switzerland. I was raised in Germany. My dad was Italian, my mom is German. I came to the U.S. to go to school and to do an internship in New York, a marketing internship at Cirque du Square Theater. After that, I went to Berkeley. I finished my master's degree there. And then I came to LA just to stay for another year. I became a teacher, and I got a green card eventually. I started to work in marketing again after a while. I stayed in education, though, and I worked for Crossroads School in Santa Monica. One thing led to another, and eventually I started to run a so-called business improvement district in West Hollywood for 6 years. Yeah. Did marketing. We kind of brought that area back to life, really pumped some energy and life into it, did some great marketing, got that area some great exposure. That's the area around the Pacific Design Center, between Doheny and La Cienega, with all the...
I know it well. I know it well.
It's a beautiful area. And so I did that for 6 years. I left and worked for a larger bit in downtown LA, the Downtown Center Business Improvement District. Was director of marketing communications there, and once again, my focus was on revitalization of an urban area. I've done that for about 3.5 years.
It looks. I'm going to interrupt you a little bit here. It looks as if, it looks as if you were always building something up. It's like they're doing a lot of that lately. A lot of people are going into consultants are going into big companies and rehabbing them and rehelping their staff and directors and whoever they are. And you seem to have started that quite some time ago. As of you went into these places and built them up.
I kind of did. I've always had a passion for community. If I had to wrap up everything that I've done in my life, My passion is bringing people together, bringing energy into a place and creating community. And that's what I've done. And that's what I'm doing in Beverly Hills with the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, it sounds like you're doing a good job.
I'm trying hard.
Did you?
Not
did you?
always easy. Not always easy.
Go ahead. No, it's not. Are you kidding? Everyone's fighting for your job. Everybody wants to get rid of you so they can take your place.
Oh, we have a lot of fun at the Chamber, don't we, Alex?
Way too much fun.
Brian, aren't you an ambassador there?
I sure am.
Brian is an incredible individual. I mean, it's rare. It's very rare that I have the pleasure of meeting a person like Brian with his skill set, with his energies, with his enthusiasm. I mean, he's been an ambassador for the Chamber. That means he sort of became a spokesperson for the Chamber, talking to various businesses, getting involved in the events and helping out wherever he is needed. Really wonderful energy. I'm so glad Brian is around. He actually is the leader of our ambassador program right now.
Oh, how amazing. And actually, that's why and how we've got Brian involved in the Darling Show, because he's got this incredible energy and his presence and loves meeting people. Right, Brian?
You know, that's where I really learned public speaking. We have, the Chamber has monthly networking breakfasts and various other events that I speak at. So, you know, it's a little intimidating for some people to speak in public, and I actually now am helping other people in the Beverly Hills business community, other Chamber members, just feel a little bit more comfortable and, you know, make it great. We have our breakfasts are usually at a different venue every month. So our membership gets to, you know, try out different restaurants and things like that.
Cool. You've got to be careful of that weight, right?
Oh, tell me about it.
Do you have a problem with that, Alex?
No. Oh, no, not Alex. He's in very good shape.
Yeah, he must go running or something every day.
But we love our new venue, and the space is great, and the Chamber really takes good care of its members. It really is a sense of community, and Alex is a good, I'm going to say liaison between the Beverly Hills leaders in government, the city council. And
I was going to say, what you call Alex, you're a leader.
He's a leader, for sure.
You are a leader. You get everything together and you get everybody, but it's also, I've never met you and I've only got a photo of you, so I'm still at a disadvantage, but that's okay. My time will come, I promise you. I'll come to Beverly Hills. But so why did you want to stay in Beverly Hills? Was that always your goal, to actually sort of end up in Beverly Hills, since you've lived there for so long?
No, it was not a goal of mine to live in Beverly Hills per se. I just ended up in Beverly Hills. I developed a big love for Beverly Hills. I think Beverly Hills is a very unique community. It has passion is something that Beverly Hills truly has. Their residents, people that work in Beverly Hills, people that live in Beverly Hills, care very much about their environment, about the city, which is a good thing. It's a wonderful thing, but it also, of course, creates stress at times, because you really have to deal with very strong opinions and people that really, really care.
Oh, absolutely. They're very protective. I was around. I lived in Bel Air, actually. I know Beverly Hills extremely well. That was my stomping ground, my shopping. And I shopped at all the shops and bought all the clothes and went to all the restaurants, had a ball with my husband. But Beverly Hills is very, very unique. What makes Beverly Hills so unique, Alex?
I think the uniqueness of Beverly Hills is a mix of Beverly Hills is a really small town. Beverly Hills is a little village.
It is a tiny village, yeah.
Beverly Hills has 34,000 residents. That's it. And at the same time, Beverly Hills is a world-renowned, a famous, incredibly powerful little city.
Destination.
That's what makes it very...
It's a destination, yeah.
Absolutely. It makes it very unique because it's a larger-than-life town and at the same time a little village.
Yes. Be careful what you do there.
And you can just stroll up and down the streets. There's something new around every corner.
And you know what's really interesting? When you stroll around the streets, you notice where the borders are. You absolutely notice the borders. Beverly Hills takes care of its streets. It takes care of its sidewalks. Everything looks pristine in Beverly Hills. The minute you leave Beverly Hills, when you encounter Los Angeles, and as you know, Beverly Hills is basically grown into Los Angeles. You don't really see the boundaries, except things really look different outside of Beverly Hills. They're not as well taken care of.
No, and you're right, and it's funny because Monte Carlo is the same way. Monte Carlo, I think it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. They've got these humongous trucks that go around and clean all the streets, and they keep, and everything is pristine. It's all clean and beautiful. Very, very unique. And Beverly Hills has got the same idea.
Yes, absolutely. So I love the city. I'm very proud that I not only live in the city, but now I'm working in the city, and I'm learning aspects of the city that I never knew about before I worked in Beverly Hills. I've always lived in Beverly Hills and worked in other areas. I worked in West Hollywood, by the way, which I treasure very much as well, for very different reasons. West Hollywood is a great, vibrant little community. And then I worked in downtown LA, which is also actually a very great, vibrant community, has a very different taste and very different feel to it than Beverly Hills. And as you know, I mean, we're all working people. We spent more time for our lives in our office than we spend at home. So I never really had the opportunity to explore in all depth the city of Beverly Hills, its government, its challenges, the struggle that Beverly Hills has to really meet everyone's needs, and things like that. It's an honor to be able to now experience that.
How have you been accepted into the community and working with the Chamber of Commerce? Because I'm not going to say you're an outsider, because you're certainly not. You live there, but you're a newcomer into their sort of, their city as of working and actually helping to run it and make it pristine and to have new ideas. How have you been perceived with that?
Ninon, this is a very clever question. This is because you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's not just by living in a city doesn't mean that the city embraces you when you all of a sudden take on a leader position in there. It's not an easy path. I have to say I've been running the chamber for a little over a year and a half. I'm still young. I'm still young for the city. It takes a long time to really get established and to really get accepted by all the players in the city. As you said, Ninon, the city is very protective, and even though I've been a resident, and that probably helped me. Aside from my resume, it helped me that I was that I've lived in Beverly Hills for so long to get this position. But at the same time, very few people knew me when it comes to Beverly Hills government, and it takes a long time to really get established and to be respected for what you do by all the players. I think they were very kind to me from the very beginning. They were very embracing of me, but at the same time,
cautious.
Cautious.
It's a tough job. Yeah,
absolutely cautious, and that again for various reasons. City leadership was cautious because they really needed to find out. They gave me the benefit of the doubt from the very beginning, but they needed to find out who I really am.
Yeah,
and then the stakeholders of Beverly Hills, again, very kind and very friendly, and they gave me the benefit of the doubt. But at the end of the day, I have to prove myself that I can hold my water, because if I cannot, all kinds of interests are at stake.
You'll be on the water, traveling far.
Well,
is Fred Heyman still there?
Fred Heyman is still there. He's not involved actively in the community anymore. He still is on the board of directors of the chamber. He doesn't attend board meetings any longer. I think Fred is really, seeking more privacy.
Yes, yeah, I've known him for years. He's a great guy. Great
He's
guy.
a wonderful man, and I had the pleasure to meet him several times after I started my assignment with the Chamber, and I have nothing but wonderful things to say about him.
Yeah, he's a good guy. What were you saying, Brian? You wanted to ask a question.
Alex, now, the city is very protective, but there's quite a bit of tourism. I consider Beverly Hills to be a very welcoming city, but I don't see the same aspects of it that you do. I know when I'm walking in the city, there's all kinds of tourists and tour buses. And what are some of the promotions? What are some of the things that people that are visiting Beverly Hills might want to take notice of, or are there any special events coming up, or any interesting destinations that people should check out?
Well, Brian, first of all, when I say the city is protective, I was referring to its operations. I was referring to anybody who comes to the city and claims a stake and claims a position within the city to help govern the city, to help organize the city, or help, take on a more active part in it. That's when the city is very protective. At the same time, the city is very embracing of tourism. There's the CVB downstairs from us. Actually, the Tourism Bureau used to be part of the Chamber. We split into separate organizations a few years ago. That was actually before my time. And now the two separate organizations were the Chamber of Commerce is now taking care of government affairs, economic development, and local marketing. We're reaching out to the residents. We're reaching out to the people that work in Beverly Hills, where the CVB focuses more on regional, national, international marketing to drive tourism into the city. They're doing a great job. The visitor center is a beautiful place. Brian, you asked me what I would tell people that want to come and visit Beverly Hills, even if you're just a neighbor, if you come from Los Angeles or from Santa Barbara or wherever else, San Diego, I would make the visitor center my first stop. They have an interactive map. They're so well equipped. They know everything about what's going on in Beverly Hills, where to go, the best places to visit. They have various collateral and things that you can take with you from them. They have souvenirs. You can buy a nice hat that you proudly can walk around with around Beverly Hills, or a T-shirt, and enjoy your stay in Beverly Hills. The visitor center is a great first stop for anybody that comes.
Well, we've got the Paley Center.
Oh my God! Yeah,
which is a great place if you like to, that place is everything television. It's the television museum.
It's a television museum. That's exactly what it is. It has wonderful, again, awesome interactive appliances in there. It is I just visited because they just right now have their big Paley Fest week, the next week and a half or so. And their kickoff, they had a great gala at the Paley Center, and I was able to go and visit them again. Beautiful space, so much fun, so interactive. If you have a chance to stop by, I would definitely recommend that. The Annenberg Performing Arts Center is being built as we speak. It will open the end of the year, October, November, and it will hold incredible culture and entertainment that we have not seen in a long time in Beverly Hills and around it.
That's good. That's needed, isn't it, Brian?
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
It's so needed. It's so needed. Absolutely. It will change. Actually, that theater will change the environment in Beverly Hills. It will bring younger people to Beverly Hills. It will bring more arts-oriented, more creative people to Beverly Hills. And I think it will really add to the mix that we currently have in there.
Oh, I agree with you, Alex. I was walking. I was out to lunch last week, and I saw a tour group whizzing by on Segways. You know those things you stand on with the big wheels, and you kind of like drive them around and stuff.
Yes.
So everybody was like zipping down Rodeo Drive on these Segways. It looked like a lot of fun. I think Nina, we should try that.
Oh, that would be amazing. Oh, I would love to try that.
Okay, be sure you guys wear helmets, okay?
No, I'm only going to do it if Alex is there.
Oh, let's
Then
do
I
that.
get then I get to meet Alex.
Oh, I can't wait to meet you,
We'll
Nina.
post those pictures on thedarlingshow.com, and we'll check back on that one, viewers. But
Absolutely.
we just have so much fun in that city, and people just think it's Rodeo Drive and shopping, but
No.
there's really good restaurants.
Absolutely.
There's nightlife. There's you can take a casual stroll, or you can go dancing. Yeah,
What,
it's
what would you
it's
like?
amazing.
Yeah, what would you like to change there, Alex, if you could? Because when I was there, I noticed that there's not very many restaurants that are open kind of late, like sort of 10 o'clock, everything kind of closes up, and is there any reason for that?
You know Beverly Hills really well. Saying that, I find this unfortunate, and I think the Annenberg Center will change that as well. There has not really been solid nightlife in Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills has been a daytime city. Beverly Hills has been a city where people go and dine, and then they leave Beverly Hills. That is changing now. You see a lot more people on the streets strolling up and down. With the Annenberg, again, it will invigorate nightlife in Beverly Hills to an extent where...
Yeah, I hope it does, because also they have a lot of the art galleries. Those are sort of like an entertainment things. A lot of those open up at night, Rodeo and different Beverly Drive. They open up, which is fun.
They're just fun to stroll around, absolutely. And we actually have an incredible supper club again, a nightclub, a jazz club in Beverly Hills.
Where?
They just recently opened on Camden. It's called Home, H.O.M.E. It's an acronym for House of Music and Entertainment.
How beautiful!
The most. You got to go there if you
I
when you
will
visit
go there.
Beverly
That's
Hills.
all right. So we'll go flying down Rodeo Drive on these big wheels.
Our
And
segues.
then we'll go back to the hotel and relax a little bit. Have a martini.
They won't
we'll
let
go-
you in with those.
No. We're going to go back to the hotel, have a martini, get ready. Then we're going to go to the jazz club.
That's a plan. That's
that a
a
plan?
great plan.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well,
They have,
another
they
good.
They have live music every night. The music is really high caliber. The way Beverly Hills really deserves it. And you can eat a dinner. The food is outrageously good. And the environment. They've put together a beautiful club. It's very unique.
Well, they have one like that up on Beverly Glen, don't they? Beverly Glen and Mulholland, they have a jazz club up there too.
There's a jazz club, yeah, but I'm not so familiar with that one.
No, it's really quite good. It's very nice, but I would love to have one in Beverly Hills and have more action. It's like the Beverly Wilshire Hotel had a couple of piano players there, which was fabulous, and then they kind of put something in with all this very loud music, and I stopped going there in the last few months because it was just too loud, because it wasn't really relaxing that you would think in a hotel, where you go really to have a bit quieter,
that you will enjoy Home. I think it will be. I have a feeling you will like it very much.
Okay.
It's as classy as I think you are.
Oh, bless your heart. Brian, you were talking about we were both talking about these shops. When you had shops for lease in Beverly Hills, there was a thing that came up, and they said they just didn't want to see window panes and, for lease signs in them. So they changed the whole decor and everything.
This is not a great look to have these, weird-looking buildings that have nothing inside, just weird signage on them, in a city that overall is so well put together. That was an eyesore to us, and we really brought it to the city many times. The city listened to us, and yes, it got alleviated. What I want to say too, Ninon, is that there actually aren't that many signs out there right now. Period.
They're all rented.
No, occupancy is very high.
Occupancy
Yeah,
is
I was going to say they're all rented.
very high, very, very high. And I'm very happy to report that because, as you know, the economy is still a little shaky. We're not quite there yet. We're still, it's still uncertain what's going to happen.
Still putzing around. We still can't make our minds up which way we want to go.
Absolutely, absolutely. In that environment, just to be able to say our occupancy is very high. I mean, Rodeo Drive occupancy is almost 100%. In other areas outside of Rodeo Drive, within the Triangle, occupancy is around 96 or so percent. We only have 4% roughly of space available in that area. It's a very low number.
Well, also, I believe, asking this question, I really want Brian to ask some questions, but I think that the reason being is a lot of people love to have the address, not necessarily making the money, but to have an address of one of their stores if they're in New York and they're in Paris and Rome, because these are all the top places, and Beverly Hills. They all love to have a place in Beverly Hills just to sort of, have a place there, and they don't normally mind the expense.
If they don't mind expense, Ninon, then they're in a good place.
Yeah.
We have businesses also that are attracted to Beverly Hills because Beverly Hills brings a lot of prestige with it. And if you are not strong enough to be able to pay, a lease amount that is a little higher than outside of Beverly Hills, you will have a hard time. You may be struggling. And there are some businesses in Beverly Hills that are struggling to make ends meet just because they want exactly what you just said. They want the exposure. They want the prestige of the city. But they may not be quite as strong as they need to be in order to sustain it.
Yeah. What is it? $6 a square foot, $12 a square foot, isn't it?
It's all the above. Nina, Beverly Hills actually has several faces, and you know that because you've lived there in the area. But people that have not lived in Beverly Hills may not even be aware of it because the image of Rodeo Drive and the Golden Triangle is so strong. That people set that equal with Beverly Hills. It really is not. There are different neighborhoods of Beverly Hills. Some of them are very organic and very homegrown. I'm looking at South Beverly Drive. I'm looking at Wilshire east of the Triangle. I'm looking at Olympic. I'm looking at Robertson. These are all areas that are Beverly Hills, but they don't have the glamour that the Triangle has with it. And of course the lease prices are much lower in those areas than if you look at the Triangle.
But it's funny what you just said though, because it's like those three streets, what is it, Cannon, Beverly Drive, Camden and Rodeo, and it's like all those 4 streets, that's Beverly Hills.
That's Beverly Hills. Absolutely. To a lot of people it is. Absolutely. You're right. And that is the challenge, and that's a challenge for the Chamber. The Chamber as an organization serving the entire business community, it needs to wear many hats. We need to serve the business community on Rodeo Drive and the business community in the Golden Triangle, but we also need to serve the community that we have outside, the little bagel store and the shoe repair place and the neighborhood places that Beverly Hills has and treasures at the same time. And that's not easy.
And, the city there's a wonderful senior living. There's a couple of senior living facilities there.
Yes.
There's a Whole Foods in Beverly Hills. So, it really is all-encompassing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the parking is great. L.A. is notoriously terrible for parking. And Beverly Hills has a number of, very large lots, and many of them offer a couple of hours free parking, and that's kind of nice. And
it's funny you just said, Brian, you just said about parking. Well, we just got a message from somebody from Blog TV, Internet Blog TV.
Oh, hi, Blog TV.
Yeah.
Welcome.
They said it's $1,000 a month to park. $1,000 a month to park your car in Beverly Hills. He just said that.
Oh,
what?
My goodness.
Yeah.
Where is he parking?
Where is that?
On a helicopter deck?
Well, maybe it's somebody that parks there. I'm sure he's exaggerated a little bit, but maybe it's somebody that parks there that's every day, that comes in and parks. And who knows? I don't know, but that's what they said.
Then I would have a great recommendation for that person.
Yes, send an email.
Have him look at buying a monthly pass that you can get for like $100, $150.
Okay. So now you're talking.
Send us an email, caller. We'll
Well, no, he's
put you in
listening.
touch.
He's listening to us. So, Alex,
You know,
what you just said, he's listening. He just heard what you said.
and in regards to parking, Ninon and Brian, this is a really interesting topic. Parking is always a problem. Parking is a problem. The merchants have a problem with parking. People have residents, visitors. Everyone has a problem with parking, and not just in Beverly Hills, but everywhere in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a very dense environment.
Let me interrupt you 1 second, Alex, because the person came back and said, this is in a professional building.
Oh, see, I don't know how much private buildings are charging for parking. I am looking at the city-owned parking lots where you can purchase monthly parking passes.
But also you get 2 hours
that's the rate
free.
that I know.
You could get a 2-hour free if you're going shopping.
If you go shopping, you get a 2 hour. And this is actually what I wanted to say, Ninon and Brian. Everyone feels there's a parking problem. If I compare Beverly Hills, and I'm trying to be as unbiased as I can be, if I try to, and I'm annoyed with parking myself. Again, I'm a resident in Beverly Hills. I know the density of the traffic. But if I compare Beverly Hills with the other areas, I have to say that the amenities that Beverly Hills offers for a shopper are unheard of compared to other areas in Los Angeles. It is first class. There are parking structures almost on every street that are city-owned that offer 2-hour free parking.
Yep.
Unheard of. And the city is losing money. The city's bleeding because of that, and they're not taking it away because they feel that they want to be welcoming and hospitable to visitors to the city.
Yeah.
So that's a huge benefit that we offer. And yes, are there times where the parking structures are crowded or full and you can't find a space in there? Absolutely, there are. When we talk about the holiday season,
I was going to say Christmas and New Year's and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Alex, the comment came back again. The comment is it was a private parking. It was a private parking building.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that they're entitled to charge whatever they want to charge.
Yeah.
That's their business, and if that's what they feel they should
that I have
charge.
no control over.
But you also have that beautiful thing between Santa Monica and Little Santa Monica. You've got those like double structures or three-story parking lots, metered parking lots, which are very good too, aren't they?
And they're also city-owned. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
they're not
there's
expensive.
Beautiful green space, very close to there. They have art showings. They put all kinds of little tents up in this green space adjacent to these parking places that you're talking about, and I think they're going to be upgrading that green space. Is that correct, Alex?
You're talking about the Beverly Hills Gardens. Absolutely. There's a big campaign. There's a big campaign going on right now. There's a big fundraising campaign to restore these gardens, and they expand over many, many, many blocks. I don't know the number by heart. I think it's like 14 or 16 blocks. It's a long, long stretch. They're beautiful gardens, and the effort is to restore them to their beauty and glamour that they were when they were in the 20s and 30s.
And I see joggers every morning. I've seen people working out. I've seen trainers and people doing yoga and walking their dogs and grab a coffee, and it's such a great destination. And you've got Barney's on one block and you've got the Gap on another block, so it's not all super high end. There's a very large variety, larger department stores, a lot of small boutiques, designers. The food is incredible. I happen to like Nate Nal's. Alex and I just had lunch at Nate Nal's Delicatessen.
No, you didn't invite me. Hey, wait a second. You didn't invite me.
Well, you weren't in town.
You weren't in town.
It doesn't matter if I was in town or not. I still could have been invited. I'm just teasing. I love to tease. I'm kind of the straight guy,
Well, can I tell you that Brian, that for half the time Brian was talking about you?
Oh, good. Yay!
Oh, I adore Ninon. We are somehow telepathically connected. I just don't know
Yeah,
what
he's
it is.
trying to find out how, and so am I. I want to ask you a question, though, about the police department. How you have your own Beverly Hills police department, and they seem to be they seem to be very nice, very good. You don't see that every corner they're stopping somebody for driving or doing something. How good are they, really?
Our police department, together with our fire department, are one of the fastest responding units in the whole region. And there are surveys that were made. The things that the times, the response times are measured, and I think there's an average response time of like 3 or 4 minutes. It's unbelievable.
That
So
is.
in Beverly Hills, if there is an issue, you have the police there in no time. You have the firefighters there in no time. It's really, this is one of the biggest amenities, Ninon, that a resident has by living in Beverly Hills compared to outside of Beverly Hills. If you just pass the border, all of a sudden, Los Angeles LAPD and the LA Fire Department are responsible for your area, and that makes a difference sometimes of not just minutes, it could be an hour. It's really...
I agree.
And you can tell when you cross those borders. I'm not in Beverly Hills anymore, and that's not really putting other areas down. West Hollywood happens to be right next to Beverly Hills,
I
so
just want to see, so for our audience to know what Beverly Hills is sort of made up of. And I know that they have a police department and fire department show where they have all the trucks come out and the police are there and everybody can come and check them out and see who they are and what they do.
well, and the cops will give you directions in Beverly Hills. I mean, and these guys they're just dressed immaculately. They're so professional. They don't even seem like police. And the fire department also, I got to tell you. But what I was saying before is, West Hollywood is directly east of Beverly Hills. So as you're driving down Santa Monica Boulevard, you get the Beverly Hills experience. The Beverly Hilton is at the crossroads of Wilshire Boulevard and Santa Monica. And boy, if you want to see some celebrities, I would definitely have a drink at the Beverly Hilton. But as you drive east into West Hollywood, then all of a sudden you're in this whole other world almost. The Pacific Design Center just welcomes you, and there's rainbow flags everywhere. That's kind of cool, I think.
And then you've got the Sunset Boulevard with all the open air cafes, which are beautiful.
Oh yeah, the Sunset Strip, that's really a happening area. If anybody's visiting the LA area, this is definitely one of the places you want to see. And there's little boutique hotels in Beverly Hills that have like weekend package specials. And that's kind of
the
cool.
Avalon, isn't that the Avalon? Is that the Avalon, Alex?
It's one of them.
Yeah.
We have a whole bunch of different hotels of different sizes. Actually, the majority of hotels in Beverly Hills, I would even say all of the hotels in Beverly Hills are fairly upscale. They vary in size. Some are smaller, some are bigger, some are more boutiquish. But overall, the hotels in Beverly Hills, you really can't go wrong with any of them. But what Brian just mentioned is something that I want to talk about just a little bit. West Hollywood really is very different, has a very different feel. And West Hollywood and Beverly Hills are so complementary to each other. It's
Absolutely.
unreal. West Hollywood has the Sunset Strip, which is an incredible experience on its own. If you like nightlife, that is the mecca of nightlife. If you go to the Pacific Design Center and the store, the area, the stores around, it's called the Avenues of Art and Design. If you go to that area, you find funky, eclectic, very different kinds of places than what you find in Beverly Hills. And neither one is worse or better. It's just they're complementing each other. They're different and they're complementing each other, very much so.
And we're talking 10 minutes away. I mean,
not even. I mean, depending on where you are, by car, it's a couple of minutes.
Sure.
I mean, they're literally next door, and they're both two little communities. Actually, they're about the same size. Beverly Hills and West Hollywood both have about 32, 33, 34,000 residents. And and then the workforce, if you add to it, they're very comparable in their size. They're very different in their look and their feel,
Yes.
but definitely complementing. There's literally nothing that really competes, because if you like Beverly Hills, what you find in Beverly Hills, you do not find in West Hollywood. If you love West Hollywood and you find there, you do not find in Beverly Hills.
Awesome.
Very complimentary.
Awesome. Yeah, Alex, if you wanted to change something, or you probably want to change things all the time, what is your most important thing that you think help, I don't want to say the tourism, but your Beverly Hills is a lot of tourism. What would you like to see happen?
That's a good question, because there's a lot of things. As you said, there's a lot of ideas that I have. There's a lot of things that I see can be improved. One of the things that I would like to see happen is a more even marketing plan, something that really promotes businesses in Beverly Hills to the residents equally to the Triangle. The Triangle is so exposed. The Triangle, is sort of the love child of Beverly Hills. And then there are the outside areas, again, South Beverly Drive, Robertson, Olympic, where businesses are in a disadvantage in a way because they're not in the spotlight. And I would like to enhance, and I'm working on that, enhance marketing opportunities for the businesses in those areas. One program that the Chamber just launched kind of quietly, and we'll have a bigger launch in April, is a Shop Local program. And with that Shop Local program, that's exactly what I want to accomplish, is that I want to provide a more even exposure to residents and people that live in Beverly Hills and work in Beverly Hills of the various areas, not just the Triangle.
I
So
have
that's
a
one
question.
thing.
Yeah, I have a question here. I hate to interrupt you, but I always like to answer this. It says, what is the image of Beverly Hills to the outside world?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah,
The image of Beverly Hills to the outside world
Mhm.
is 90210 and is clueless and is Pretty Woman.
Yes.
That's the
Well,
image.
yeah.
It's
Pretty
posh, spoiled, rich brats, posh, luxury, women in fur coat, even though it's 70 degrees outside.
Haven't
But
done that yet.
But you
I've been
Well, I've
tempted.
worked in Beverly Hills for 13 years. I have not seen a fur coat yet in 70 degrees. I think they're doing faux fur now. I think that's the style. I'm not sure. But
and it's glitzy and glamorous. That's really the reputation, I think, of Beverly Hills to the
Another
outside.
thing says, and the cars you do not see anywhere else. They've got the cars in Beverly Hills. I agree with that.
We're talking about the Bugattis, and we're talking about the Rolls Royces and the Bentleys. Absolutely, yes.
oh, that Bugatti in front of Bichon store.
Oh yeah, that yellow one.
It's a yellow and black Bugatti. Am I pronouncing that right? Bugatti?
Yeah.
Yes, just a little accent on it. That's all.
I drive down Rodeo Drive every single day. And when that car is parked outside of Bijon's boutique, there's always 5 or 10 people
Taking
surrounding
pictures.
that car taking pictures.
I know.
It's really kind of nice because, people are really having a good time. It really isn't that hotsy-totsy, stuck up nose in the air kind of a place. That's not how I see it. I've worked in Beverly Hills for 13 years, and, I don't
Very
live
friendly.
there.
Very friendly. They're
Yeah,
very
I mean,
friendly.
it's very friendly. I can attest personally that South Beverly Drive is doing pretty well. There's a lot of really good restaurants on South Beverly Drive. And there's also there's one of those Beverly Hills public parking lots right in the middle of that area, and you can park for free for 2 hours, and you're right there. And I don't think there's a lot of, for instance, if you go to one of the larger shopping malls like the Beverly Center or the Grove or someplace like that, you may have to, park quite a distance away from, where your destination is. And Alex, where can our viewers get that Beverly Hills parking lot guide? Is that up on the Chamber website?
We have parking lots listed on there. It's not a real guide, but we list where people can park. I want to say that on the Love Beverly Hills website, the CVB website, there's probably some parking guidance there as well.
Oh, give us that website.
Yeah, what is that website so our viewers can tune in there?
At lovebeverlyhills.com. So that's a tourist website, and then BeverlyHillsChamber.com is the website for the Beverly Hills Chamber of Commerce. That also includes the Shop Local. There's actually a third website I want to give out, and that's called ShopLocalBH.com. And that is a website that has
BH. Okay.
And that is the website. That Shop Local program that I mentioned just a little earlier. That's part of it. And this website has specials, different kinds of deals that businesses are offering every month, and that changes all the time. But not only that, it features residents, it featers business owners, and that changes on a regular basis. It's being updated.
Wonderful. Yeah,
and it's something for residents and for people that to look at and just to educate themselves on trivia about their own city, things that they could do that they may have never thought of. It's just kind of a portrait of their own city in a way, with ideas of what to do and where to go, and just some inspiration.
A question here, it says what you're talking about, Alex. It says, there's two things here. There was a thing here called Souls to Souls. Are they on Skype? Yes, they are on Skype. So Souls to Souls are on Skype with us, I believe. And then the question was, what you were just talking about, Alex, is what about the famous Rodeo Drive?
What about it?
What about you? Tell us. I mean, there's only one,
Let me tell you something about Rodeo Drive. Rodeo Drive.
What's something about Rodeo Drive we don't know about? Tell us something we don't know about.
Oh my God.
Tell us a secret, Alex.
Well, if it tells a secret, it won't be a secret anymore.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Come on, let's have the secret. Come on, Alex.
There's a little hotel right on Rodeo Drive. Is that a secret? Is that something that people don't know?
Oh, that might be a little secret.
That's actually there's a boutique hotel that is on Rodeo Drive, right in the middle of all the hoopla.
What's the name?
It's called the Lux Hotel. Yeah, it's a beautiful little boutique hotel. So if you go to Beverly Hills because you want to go shopping, you go to Lux Hotel.
That's the place to go. They will carry your bags for you.
They will carry your bags to the hotel.
Yep. They'll deliver them directly to the hotel.
But what I want to say about Rodeo Drive is, and Brian and both of you and the listeners, we all know that malls in the United States, malls in Southern California have become a lot more upscale. There's a lot more of those. There's South Coast Plaza. There's the Beverly Center. There is, there's all kinds of shopping areas.
Century City, yeah.
Century City.
Yeah.
The Grove. There's all these different areas.
Upscale.
And they're upscale. You find, places like Louis Vuitton in all kinds of places now. You don't have to go to Rodeo Drive to do that. Now, what makes Rodeo Drive different, though, is that Rodeo Drive is as opposed to the other areas that are artificially created. I mean, there are malls. Rodeo Drive gives you a truly unique shopping experience in an area that has a history, an area that is very old, and an area that, you walk up and down the street and you can feel that there's character and there's atmosphere in there that you do not find anywhere else. It's an individually and naturally grown area that, yes, it's manicured, it's groomed, it's made to look very beautiful and upscale, but it's nevertheless organically grown, and it is something that is truly unique. And Nina and Brian, there are people that come from China, they come from the Middle East, they come from France, they come from Brazil, and they're not going to these malls. They're going to Rodeo Drive just because they want this experience. They want to have,
Absolutely.
you know,
What about at Christmas time when they had those chandeliers, those Lalique chandeliers all the way down Rodeo Drive?
I know.
Remember that?
Yeah, and
That was
every year,
amazing.
They
every
weren't
year,
there this year.
well,
was
this year there
looking
was
for
something
those.
different.
Well, they have something
it's
different.
never-
They always have something
it's
different.
never the same. Okay, here's the thing with the Christmas decoration. There is general Christmas decoration throughout Beverly Hills that are very much the same every year. And then the Christmas decoration for Rodeo Drive every year varies. It's always a different attraction. It's always done differently. And there's always a lot of money spent to make sure that Rodeo Drive sparkles and shines for the holidays.
Well, on the sparkle and shining for the holidays, we've got to close the show. So, Brian, if you'd like to close the show out and let us know what's going on next week, what's happening?
Oh, gosh. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Alex, for being our very first guest. I really appreciate that.
Amazing.
And coming up next week, we have a dynamic individual named Lisa Tenner, and she is the founder of an organization called Poker Gives. And so we're going to talk a little poker next week and a little PR and a little branding and marketing.
Vegas.
So, a little bit of Vegas.
There you go.
Until next week, I want to thank my guest, Alex, and on behalf of Nina and Duverda Rosa, I am Brian Darling. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a pleasant tomorrow.
I want to thank you, Nina, and I want to thank you, Brian. I had a blast. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you. Amazing. Thank you, Brian. See you next week, Brian.
Thanks, Alex. Bye, Nina.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next week.
Cheers to the Darling Show.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Kids Talk Foundation, a global nonprofit organization providing youth advocacy, television programming, and training services in the United States, along with comprehensive medical and educational services for the developing world, most recently in Kenya, Africa, where Kids Talk Foundation provides a feeding program, medical care, and educational services to over 1,300 young people each day. Please help our youth and place your donation. Go to www.kidstalk.org.
You're watching and listening to Conscious Evolution Media, shifting global consciousness at consciousevolutionmedia.com.